And at the same time, for me, I was like, I kind of like that. Because what it taught us is don't be a slave to the words on a piece of paper or a preamble without understanding its consequence. So we as Americans, especially with civics is not priority anymore, we hear free speech and just think that people can just go rogue. Free speech has consequence, right, Attorney Fudge? And so when I think about those lessons, it wasn't real challenging for me to leap into this body of work because it really became whole for me in that walk under that type of tutelage when election 2008 happened. And I got a president that looked like me. And everything in the world felt magnificent until the whole year of 2008, I was in California doing programs on the ground called Homophobia in the Black Church and reaching out to my community just to soften the reality, because in the Black community, you can't even get to gay marriage because the conversation about gay is like, and let me be clear, the Black community invented the term don't ask, don't tell. So when you even try to have a conversation about gay marriage, what are you talking about? Gay marriage, we have 70% single women households in the Black community. Gay marriage is not even a cultural term that is revered in the way that society may deal with, but you're talking about gay marriage. We don't even say the word gay in our community. So when you speak of, when people try to say that the African American community is intolerant, that's the wrong conversation. The conversation is we're not even talking to our own children, our own families, our own community about sexuality. We can't even get to the different types of sexuality. So when people like to cast a light on the African American community in California, for me, it was sweet victory. We had Obama, but that next day, the only thing we heard competing with the victory was the Black community took gay marriage away from not all gay people. It was a conversation about white gay people. So it became white gay people against African Americans. Wow. All I could say for the next few weeks was wow. Because as I was trying to celebrate Obama, I was called in, like I felt like I was being called in by Obama, into California to say, how did you let this happen? Now, last population check, I think African Americans are about 7% of the state of California, maybe. No one pulled the stats on the 25% Latino community. No one pulled the stats on the 12% Asian American community. I had people just calling because CNN went up with this, hellacious study. And then we just totally gave the evangelical white people a pass and decided that Black America took gay marriage away from the state of California. And then there goes California, there goes the country. So it became really a journey for me, because my heart was so deeply invested in moving this conversation about homophobia in the Black church that it took a turn because I found myself in a political quandary because of the access that I had of trying to explain Black people's action on an issue that no one ever really meaningfully engaged us on, called gay marriage. So I said, well, let me take some responsibility as to what's really the work that needs to be done, gay rights movement, before you can even get to the conversation about marriage in the African American community. And then I did a deep dive to say, I'm here, I'm ready to do this work, but let me give you a little bit of an education about what you're up against. Nikki Giovanni said it best. When we went through the civil rights struggle, it was a physical struggle. And we overcame it and did not want to give anyone that banner. The conversation about gay rights, it's an emotional struggle. and it's going to take emotional courage within the African American community to get us to a place of conversation. We're not even to the stage of acceptance, to conversation, because greater America is not about you. It's about our babies. It's about our community. It's about our family. It's about the black family. It's about the black church, and it's about the black community. This is a black on black issue before we can even get to the greater LGBT movement. This is a conversation that we all grew up living in a life where gay rights issues were taboo. It wasn't even about rights. It was just the existence. And there is a cloud going through this country that I want to make sure African Americans are not left behind in the conversation. The gay rights bandwagon, auto train, Learjet is coming right through the middle of American democracy. And my job at the National Black Justice Coalition is to be a bridge builder. It is not just in words of bridge building, but to prepare my community, the African American community, so that we're not in a position of being an adversary to rights and freedoms that we fought for over 200 years to receive. And this is not to compare or juxtapose, but civil rights, little c, little r, belongs to everybody. Even the capital C, capital R, capital N movement, civil rights movement, was an education received by Gandhi in India for Dr. King. We just did it so well, everybody wanted to imitate it or replicate it. It's a fondness. But the struggles are different, but not that much. What Matthew Shepard went through is not a whole lot different than what James Byrd went through or Emmett Till. The cloud of democracy that we're experiencing when we have babies committing suicide right now is the effects of the power train moving through, that a movement that is here to stay. The LGBT movement is going nowhere. We celebrate our successes, but we also have to do our work to ready the community and those that are going to be the beneficiary of our actions, like these poor fallen angels, to understand what's at the end of the rainbow. Excuse the pun. So I'm going to test a statement, a letter, open letter that I'm preparing on this audience. And I look forward to your feedback. It is time to have a real conversation in America, especially Black America, about our hypocrisies and human sexuality. In recent months, at least 13 young people have committed suicide due to the torment of bullying and homophobia. If you have raised children, you know the investment we each make when we agree to shepherd a young life. The sometimes thankless jobs we assume in order to support them. The late nights nursing, colds and tummy aches, the photos of toothless kindergartners that we produce so proudly, the tiny little clothes that they grew out of all too quickly, those bright, wondrous eyes that look to us with complete trust that we will always love them no matter what. All human life is precious, no matter what. So how is it that some of us put so much love and energy into raising these babies and then drop them like strangers because you find out that they are gay? And why? Because your preacher said so? Because your faith told you it was an abomination? What happened to, if I be lifted up, I will draw all? I'm just asking. Folks, we need to take a cue from our children. If they can find the courage to come out to us after enduring the fear of rejection and who knows what else at school and in the streets, then we must find the courage to meet them where they are, just as they are.